Good morning and welcome. My name is Helen Jennings. I'm a Stampin' Up demonstrator based here in the UK, and it is lovely to welcome you to join me this morning. It's all right, I'm just suddenly looking. There doesn't seem to be any banners and things on there. So let's add that in, shall we? Actually, I do need to change that. So if you are shopping with me this morning, look out after this live and I will actually change this host code. So the host code at the bottom is the March host code. We obviously are into April now, and I just haven't had a chance this morning to put up the new April host code. So if you are shopping with me this morning or beyond this morning and you're looking for the host code, then after this video, that will be one of my jobs. So who am I? My name is Helen Jennings. I'm a Stampin' Up demonstrator based here in the UK, and the last couple of times I've come on, it's been quite sunny. Last weekend, we hit 20 degrees here in the UK, and we were all out in our t-shirts and got our sun cream out. Yesterday we had snow. So yes, typical spring, March, April weather here in the UK. You never quite know what you're going to get. All very exciting. But so if you are joining me, do let me know where you are joining me from. And give us a weather update from where you are. Yeah, because you could be 2 miles up the road and have different weather than we've got. But it is a blue sky out there this morning, so the sun is quite bright, even though it is a little bit on the chilly side. No complaints though, we just have to wrap up warm and get on, don't we? And here we are on this Friday morning to come and do a little bit of crafting, and we're going to be playing with some retiring things. So we have a little bit of an eclectic mix this morning. I thought we would have a play with a couple of very different things, and a bit of a warning. We are going to be making a Christmas card because there are some Christmas things that we are saying goodbye to, that if you haven't got, you might very well want to add to your stash before it's too late, before they have completely gone. So let me bring in my downward facing camera and let's have a little bit of a look with what we're going to play with today. Before we do that, let me introduce you to me and where you can find out some more information about me. This is my website, www.loveaduckie.co.uk, and you can find out lots more about me there on my website. You will find blog posts, you'll find inspiration, you'll find links to classes, links to my shop, links to tutorials, all sorts of things going over on my website. So do head on over there. You're still not too late to sign up for some of these April classes. We have the stamp camp coming up at the end of the month using the Symbols of Fortune suite. We have an amazing silhouettes stamper stack class, and we're going to be doing a one sheet wonder with the ladybugs. So do go and head over. And I'm still waiting. Some of my team have got their physical copy of their new catalogue. I'm still waiting for my physical catalogue to hit the doormat. I'm hoping that my postman will bring it today, as he didn't bring it yesterday, and then I can really have a flick and start putting up some classes for May and beyond. But of course, the one thing that is very much in the diary as well for May and beyond is our all-day retreat that's happening in June. So do let me know if you'd like to come along to that. A fabulous day. I'm really looking forward to it. It's been a couple of years, I can't think why, since we've last had one. So it'll be yeah, really lovely to be doing that. So let's come back into our downward facing camera, and I've got out my annual catalogue. So we're going to be playing with a couple of things. We're going to be having a bit of a play with, oh, nearly knocked my water over, this Stella birthday stamp set that you can see here is really cute. I actually used this stamp set to create a card for my grandson for his birthday. Really great card, really great set for the children, for the little people among us. And then we have the poinsettias is the other thing we're going to be having a play with this morning. These are the stamps. We've got the gorgeous dies as well. So we're going to be having a play with those to create a Christmas card. So those are both things that you will find on the last chance section of the online store. So you have not got very long to grab these products before they're gone. Hi Jane. And obviously depending on where you are in the world, you might find that the last chance shop looks a little bit different because things will sell out in one market before they sell out in the other. These things were certainly both available in the UK store when I checked. So let's start off with our Christmas card, and I did think we would have a go at doing some sort of slimline cards. Now I have got a class next week, so if you're here locally and want to come and do a bit of a technique class about slimline cards, then do come and join us next week. Do let me know. And you could come and join us if you are local. But here in the UK and possibly elsewhere in the metric world, we can get DL envelopes very easily. Now, these aren't Stampin' Up envelopes. Stampin' Up have got some nice slimline envelopes, but they are sized for imperial slimline cards, which are slightly different from our DL cards. Very easy to make, and that's one of the things we'll be talking about in my class next week. But we're going to make some DL size cards today, and yeah, so but once I get round to blogging them, then we will sort of have a bit of a play, and yeah, I'll put up different measurements for you so that you can recreate them in other markets as well. So for a DL card, it is actually 2/3 of a piece of A4 card, and I think the slimline cards in the US are similar, sort of around about 2/3. I think just slightly under 2/3 in the US, but for us here they are 2/3. So what we need to do is we need to cut this at 19.8 because that is 2/3 of a piece of A4 along the long side, and then score it at 9.9. And then if we fold that, that is going to fit into that DL envelope beautifully. Be interesting to know actually, do you have DL envelopes? So for you ladies in Australia, do you have DL envelopes? We certainly do here. It's our sort of standard business envelope size, but obviously we also get them now that are and have been for a long time, get them that are suitable for sending cards. So they're a little bit nicer than the standard popping something into the business envelope. So there we have a Merry Merlot. Yeah, excellent. Merry Merlot card base. So yeah, this is true for Australia as it is for us here. That is good. Now I'm going to probably put a mat on that, but I haven't decided what yet. Because the other thing that is obviously going to be retiring that I thought I'd have a play with is this the paper stacks. So for every colour family, we also have a paper stack. So this one is the neutrals paper stack. There's also a brights, a subtles, a regals, and there is also 2 in colour packs. Now these are retiring, but there will be a new set. They'll just have slightly different patterns on. So that's what they've done in the last few years. They have just sort of changed up the patterns on the paper. So you get a new set of papers, but obviously the same colourways, with the exception of the new in colours. You'll get a new in colour pack. So these are what I'm going to be having a bit of a play with alongside my poinsettia dies. So let me just dig those out. So the poinsettia dies and the stamp set that coordinate with it have been available as a carryover item in the annual catalogue, but we are saying goodbye to them. So here is the stamp set, and on the stamp set you have these stamps that you can then die cut, but there's also these sort of detailed embossed dies so that you can just die cut them and add in the embossed details. They are a beautiful, beautiful set of dies and the stamp set, so you know they are really gorgeous. So it is one that, you know, you may well want to have in your stash. And if you haven't got it, you may well want to go and check out if it's still available, and grab it before it is gone for good, because it is a stunning poinsettia set. But we're going to use some of our papers to die cut some poinsettias rather than stamp and colour. So we're going to use some retiring papers and some retiring dies to create, hopefully, a beautiful Christmas card. Now then, here is my other mat. I do have a spare on standby, so I'd have had my die cutting machine in the other room, and I've obviously failed to bring one of my acrylic plates through, but it's okay. I have a standby. So I have lined those outer and inner dies up onto my piece of Merry Merlot Designer Series paper. Clunk, clunk. So there we have our die cut and our embossing in the paper. I'm going to cut out another medium size one. You do have to find the right way that these sit. Have I missed it? That one. And let's take this smaller one. And again, we're going to have a play till we find the right line up. And then there's this little tiny one just here that just gives an embossed detail. I'm going to cut a couple of those as well. And I'm going to cut just one more little one in the Merry Merlot. And then we'll have a whole host of poinsettia blooms. Obviously you can have a play around with your paper, particularly these sort of in colour papers are really quite good for this sort of die cutting and building things up. Let's bring in some Merry Merlot and find our, not Merry Merlot, Mossy Meadow. Got our muzz, the wrong muzz. Let's have some leaves. I'm going to take this bit here. I'm going to cut that in some soft suede. Let's just lay that down there for now. Let's find our take a pick tool. Where would we be without our take a pick tool? We will ease that out of there, and we will cut ourselves another one of those. And we'll have another set of leaves as well. Just going to take that bit off of the side. There we go. And the only other thing we're going to want is a few little pieces for the inside of our poinsettia. Which one are we going to go for? I'm going to go with that one. Oh, I pulled a few of the little... I didn't ease that out very well, did I? Let's take that out. We might well be able to still use that bit. I'm going to take the bit with holes in. One hasn't got... One is sort of like a embossed piece, and the other one has holes in. And just rummaging through. Let's get a little bit of gold foil, I think. I'm just going to cut a few of these in a little piece of gold foil. Just going to cut a strip off of there, because if I keep running it through the machine, it will invariably get marked. And then that bit of gold foil perhaps won't be so lovely to use. And we don't want that. So die cut a few of these. Oh, well, I would if the die hadn't just dropped into a box. Oh, fiddle-dee-dee. Where did you go? That could have gone anywhere. Let's transfer to the other die. We'll have the one with the embossing on. Let's have a bit of a mix and match, shall we? And I'll hunt that die down later. You'll be able to compare and contrast the two dies anyway. we'll see if that's enough. So here's the die that has got the holes die cut into it, and here's the one that has got sort of like those embossed elements. Right, I'm going to take, I think, a piece of soft suede card. And I'm going to cut this to 9.4. And let's just cut off 0.5 centimetre this end. And that should make us a rather, so it's then 20.5. That's given us a little bit of a mat to go on there. And then we'll find ourselves a bit of basic white cardstock. I'm going to cut that to 8.9 and cut it to 20 centimetres, or a centimetre off on the end, to give us our front piece. Grab some Pool Party. I think my balmy blue must be in the other room. Pool Party anyway, sort of, it's got a bit of touch of frostiness about it. Let's just add in the balmy blue ink onto this card base. So that might not be showing up very well, but there is very definitely some balmy blue ink on there. Just going to gather up all these dies. Move this out of the way to give me a little bit of space. To have a play with these poinsettias. Now let's have a look what we've got. A large, 2 medium, 2 small, 2 tiny, and some leaves. And then these bits of brown, and somewhere I've got another inner piece. Not sure that I've got much inner piece while I'm losing bits, but you know what I mean. A centerpiece rather than inner piece. I'm going to just grab a green and a pinky reddy blending brush. To take some Merry Merlot and just go over the edge of these flowers, just to help make that embossed piece pop a little bit more. Just by adding a bit more depth of colour in the background where the embossing is. I don't know how well you'll pick that up. It just has helped it to pop out a little bit more. and a small one. And we'll have a little gold piece in the middle of there. And there's the medium and the small. And on this one we'll have a tiny piece. And we've got this little tiny flower just here. We'll just have hanging around in the background. Let's swap our blending brush and bring in some Mossy Meadow. I'll do the same with this. Just add in some of that ink just to help that embossing to pop. Last but not least, and then we've got these little bits of soft suede foliage as well. Ooh, I've got nice Mossy Meadow nails. So let's bring in our card base. And let's start to have a bit of a play where we want these to go. And some leaves. I think perhaps we won't worry too much about that. And then we've got a few different sentiments in here. How about may magic and wonder bloom this holiday? It's rather wonderful, isn't it? Now, do we go Merry Merlot? Do we go soft suede? Or do we go Mossy Meadow? I think I'm going to go Merry Merlot. May magic and wonder bloom this holiday. I'm going to bring in some of the gold thread as well from the elegant trim pack. I think we'll make rather a big bow, because we'll have that coming in under there somewhere. Right, let's build this baby up. Just looking for my ribbon scissors. A fairly long tail on that one. Bring in my Tombow. And let's construct some flowers. And have a bit of Tombow under there, and then we'll put that one so it sits with the petal sitting in the gaps. Let's bring in this tiny one. Let's put in our gold centre. Let's go for the bigger one. So you can also cut the petals in green and perhaps have a green one at the back, because poinsettias sort of, it is actually the different coloured leaves, isn't it? And you get the green leaves and some of the leaves are red. So that can look quite good as well. Again, let's come with our gold in the centre. Now I think I'm just going to put some Tombow in the centre and leave the sort of outer pieces a bit more free flowing. We could curl them, we could work these a little bit if you wanted to, but you might then want to go for a more of a box envelope if you do that to any degree. That one sitting underneath. Or do we want it on top? Well, I think we'll go sitting underneath. We'll do the same again. By just putting that glue in the centre, it will give us options for tucking in leaves and all of those sorts of things. We've just sort of played with those a little bit and given that a bit of depth. Let's take this little flower and we'll just add that in the back there somewhere. And to add in some of this soft suede foliage coming out here. Oh, you weren't supposed to stick to my finger. And then we'll have some more coming down over here. Let's have a play with some of these leaves. Oh, you know what I haven't put in is my bow. Oh, bow. We will endeavour to tuck it in. Oh no, bow. Let's pop a glue dot on it. And then let's tuck it in under here somewhere. And have a play with these bits. Bring them down here. Now I think I want you to go on top of that, like that. Let's pull that a little bit. I think I'm going to just tug that one a bit. Okay, that's better. Let's come back to our leaves. Now we've remembered our bow. one here. One coming down there. Actually, I'm going to bring in this little piece that just broke off. To have that coming up there, just to fill that little bit of a gap. Let's add a soft suede to our Merry Merlot DL card base, and then we will add that on the top there. There's a little stamp just here that you can use for the inside of your poinsettias, but I'm actually just going to hopefully find some soft suede ink. Just going to take this. Just add in a few little dots round and about. Then I'm going to take these brushed metallic adhesive backed dots. These are rather lovely. I'm going to pick out some of the gold ones. And we'll just have a few. Sort of coming in, ooh, sticking to our finger. That one really doesn't want to stick there, does it? I'm going to give you, I'm not sure whether you've lost your adhesive back. Let's give you a spot of glue to hold you in place. This one I'm going to move back a little bit as well. So there, obviously that's going to need to have an insert in it, and we could stamp a bit more of those poinsettias. You could use a bit more of that paper, and all different ways to decorate it. You could take your envelope and do some stamping on that as well. But there is a Christmas card using those gorgeous poinsettia dies that are about to disappear. So don't let them disappear without making sure that you have them in your stash. So there's the stamps and the dies. So having thought about Christmas, I've just found my other little gold centre. I think it's a bit big for that one back there. Yeah, I don't think I'll worry about that little gold centre. Let's put that card to one side. And let's go off on a completely different tangent. Clear my decks a little bit. Got another DL envelope, so let's do another DL card, but this time let's bring in this really gorgeous little fun Stella birthday stamp set. And I thought we might sort of think about some of the outgoing in colours with this one, if you can have an outgoing in colour. But yes, we're going to be saying goodbye to Misty Moonlight, to Just Jade, to Bumblebee, to Magenta Madness, and to Cinnamon Cider. So just a moment of silence for that while we think Oh, but we liked those. There are some gorgeous colours coming though. So much as we're going to miss the ones that are going, I'm sure we're going to love the ones that are coming. For those people that are demonstrators already, they can put in their pre-order today, and many may already have done so. And if you are thinking about joining the Stampin' Up family, you can add pre-order items to your starter kit. So if you want to get ahead of the game and get your hands on some of those new things, and that is very definitely a way to go about it. The other thing that I shall be ordering catalogues soon. So if you're here in the UK and you don't currently receive a Stampin' Up catalogue and you would like to receive a Stampin' Up catalogue, do get in touch with me. Contact me, either send me a direct message, contact me via my website, and let me know. You can go onto my website actually and request a catalogue. So go and do that. Go and hunt out my website, request a catalogue. Make sure you've got one on its way to you because you don't want to miss out. Right, this piece of basic white I'm going to cut at 9.4, and we need it to be 20.5, so that's just taking off a 0.5 centimetre. This end, there's that little 0.5 centimetre slither. Now I am going to grab a Misty Moonlight, but before I start adding any Misty Moonlight to this card, and I think this one will have going this way, I think we'll have our sort of space people floating up our card base. But before I start adding any ink or anything to this, I'm going to take my Versamark, and in this stamp set we do have these little stars. This is a red rubber stamp set, so I'm going to take those little stars. Let me find. She says hopefully, yes. Let's give this a bit of a rub, just make sure there's no finger marks or anything on it. I'm going to take our little stars and randomly stamp some stars in the background. Now, that's as clear to me as it is to you. I'm now going to bring in white embossing powder because there's nothing like white on a video. Let us just sprinkle that on there. It will hopefully stand out a little bit, at least for me, if not for you. See if there's anywhere where I think we could do with some more. I think another set just there would probably be about right. And I want a little paintbrush because I've got one set down the bottom here that's got a bit of over stamping on it. Okay, so I now have white embossing powder all over that piece of cardstock. Let's bring in our heat tool, our heat gun. Shouldn't call them heat guns. Social media doesn't like it. Social media doesn't realise that this is there's only good can come from embossing powder and a heat gun, a heat tool. Right. Now have lots of little white stars in the background. I am just going to grab, hopefully, some gold embossing. Let's come back over here and take the little planets. And we'll add those into the background with some gold embossing. Just make sure I can see where my white was, just so that we can add a few little gold planets. I think we'll have some up there. Let's see how that is looking. So I always tip my embossing powder into boxes just because it's easier to scoop it up and play around with it. Really need I think another little set just over here. Might have it going off the edge a little bit. And perhaps we'll do one. Do the same, going off a little bit over here. Can see where I've had sticky fingers holding onto the side of there. Let's bring in our paintbrush. And get rid of that excess. Right, let's heat that up again. Just put the lid on the embossing powder so that we don't knock those flying. I don't think embossing powder, changing as you heat it, ever quite loses its magic. We're just holding that up to the light to check that we're all shiny, and yes we are. Now I'm going to bring in my misty moonlight and a blue Lender pen. Oh, that wasn't very I hadn't rubbed the ink off of that very well. Wondering if this brush has got a bit damp. But that's That's right, we can position our spacemen and such like. Blend that all in the background. Popping those planets and those stars. Right, so we've got that background. Let me find a little bit of kitchen towel, just to give that a little bit of a burnish over and help those stars and things to pop. I'm also going to, I think, bring in a bit of Magenta Madness and Bumblebee. We've got a completely blue background there. Let's add in a bit of yellow. Then let's add in a bit of Magenta Madness. That's rather fun. Come back in with our kitchen towel and wipe that excess off the top of those embossed stars and planets. So there we have a rather lovely sort of starry background. So not just one tone, we've added in some more of those colours. We've got our planets, we've got our stars. So I think we now need a few spacemen, space dog. We want to rocket, possibly. And then I think we'll have a You're Out of This World coming in there as well. Let's see. This actually has got some embossed lines on. Are they going to fit in between the lines? I think they are. So I'm going to take my memento. And there's Space Girl. Space Boy. Space Dog. And Space Rocket. And then we'll stamp the "You're out of this world" down there at the bottom. So grab the stamping blends that I've got that are in colours, the Retiring in colours. I might come in and do some different colours as well in a minute, but let's give her a Magenta Madness spacesuit. Why wouldn't you want to fly off into space in hot pink? And let's have just jade boots and gloves. I'm not sure that these are quite NASA colours, but you know, so what? Now, there obviously isn't a bumblebee marker. We have So Saffron, or we have Daffodil Delight. We give her a green helmet as well. I love the way her pigtails poke out the side of her helmet. I'm not sure whether that would get by the space health and safety. And we'll give her a just jade belt as well, shall we? And I'm going to come in with some cinnamon cider for her star. I'll give his star cinnamon cider. I'll come and do the hair and things in a minute. For him, we're going to give him a Just Jade suit. Just coming around the sort of outline in the dark. And we'll come in so astronauts are quite fun for little people. My grandson particularly is quite into space at the moment. He went to the Space Centre as part of his birthday treat. I'm going to bring in dark so saffron, I think. Not sure that that's quite dark enough. Might go pumpkin pie instead. If I try and do blue or anything, you'll get lost in the background. Let's give him some a nice bright still hopefully pick up on that yellow a little bit. Blend that together where those dark meets that light. And again, we'll come in a minute and sort out hair colours and things. Let's give him a pumpkin pie belt. We have our little dog just here. I'm going to give him some cinnamon cider spots. And we'll give him cinnamon cider ears. And I think a cinnamon cider tail. And he can have little green boots too. And then our rocket. Let's bring in some more of our pumpkin pie for that. We'll also bring in some of that dark so saffron for our flames out the back. Let's have pink wings. Pink down here, pink stripe. And then we'll bring in the light, I think, just jade. Colour in our little rocket. Now, to work side all of those things that are retiring, let's have some things that are new, and let's bring in these new stamping blends. I'm going to grab a petal pink. I'm just going to give them some little pink cheeks and around their noses and around their eyes. There we go. Take a slightly different skin tone for him. And then hair colour. Let's bring this one in for her. So I'm not going to worry too much about putting different shades in. There's not. You can sort of put different browns and things in to give it a sort of a more natural hair look. But for this particular one, I'm just going to add in one colour. Oh, I've got these little bits on the side. And then what colour hair shall we give you? Shall we go a darker brown? And then there must be something in there that we could use for our puppy. And his collar. I'm just going to take the light balmy blue and just come round the edge of his space helmet. And let's do the same on his bone. Right, scissors. But not those scissors. Not our ribbon scissors. Oh, there's that light balmy blue gone. Let's do the same round the peephole, the window in our rocket. Just add a little bit of blue. So with these ones, don't really want too much of a border. Don't really want a border with these ones because they're going to be on a coloured background. So I am going to cut these close to the stamped image. I'm coming back to that bit in a minute. Round they come. Badoing, 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 badoing. Our paper snips are so good for fussy cutting. They're not too difficult shapes. We're going to have one element that is going to be a little bit difficult, and we've got to work around for that. So we'll get to that in a minute. Her hair is probably the most fiddly bit. And we'll come in on this side and just, we need to get into this little bit of hair just here, but it's easier without all that excess card hanging around. Right, so there we have one little space girl just flying off the edge of the screen. Round we go. His hair's not sticking out, so that makes that a bit easier. Round the top of his helmet. Round his hands, his gloves. Does appear only to have 4 fingers. That's okay. One less to cut out. Badoing around his boots. There's our second little space person. Let's do the rocket. That's nice and easy. You can, if you've got sort of white edges on any of these, go around the edge with a stamping blend. Just take your black stamping blend or stamping white marker or any pen really, and just run it around the edge. Now we come to the nose of our rocket. Let's just snip that bit off. Not sure where our rocket's going to be going. We'll work that out in a minute. Possibly up here. Little dog. Now, little dog is the one thing that is possibly a little awkward when he comes to cutting him out, because he has this lovely little string that's holding his bone. I'm going to just cut that off for now. Oh no, I've chopped his tail off. Never mind, we'll sort that out in a minute as well. Sorry, little doggy. Moments lapsed in concentration and I've chopped off your tail. I'm going to cut out his little bone. Make sure I don't lose it. Stay just there. And let's cut out your out of this world. Right, I think your out of this world will have going there. Have Space Duckie up there. Yeah, I think I'm going to put Space Duckie up there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that stamp again and re-ink it. Deciding where we want Space Dog to go. Just going to stamp it. Now, it doesn't matter that this isn't particularly going to stick onto the emboss, because I'm just going to stick that over the top. I'm going to take my cinnamon cider blend and just recolour his tail. Bless him. Fancy chopping his tail off. And let's bring in, I'm going to bring in my Tombow, and we'll add Tombow just there. Just going to put a little spot on there and add back in that bone, rather. So then we have that little string stamped onto the card without us having to cut it out. Let's have our rocket coming up here. And then I think our little Space Boy and Space Girl will add on with some dimensionals. Let's have her coming this way. Him coming that way. Stick on you're out of this world. Some Tombow to the back of that. Oh, I've just caught his bone. No. Stay. Stop being tricky. Stay in place. There we go. Okay, again, that's going to need a white insert. to look and see if I can bring this camera up a little bit. But there's our little space toddlers, I think is the only way that we can describe them. And again, that's a nice big DL card. So we've got a Christmassy DL card using the Poinsettia dies and stamp set that is in the last chance. And we have Stella birthday to create that lovely space card using some of those retiring ink colours as well. So something else that we're saying goodbye to. So I've hoped you've enjoyed having that bit of a play with some things that we are sadly saying goodbye to. I hope if you are a demonstrator, you are going to, excuse me, enjoy your pre-order and looking at all those lovely things. Yeah, and I'll be back on Monday. So have a fabulous weekend, whether it sunshines, whether it snows, whatever it does. I hope you get to enjoy it, and I'll be back with some more things that we're saying goodbye to on Monday. See you then.